Today we're going to be reviewing some of the most viral protein cheesecake recipes to find out if they're anabolic magic or if they're crimes against humanity. So let's find out.
This is not a cheat meal. This is my meal prep for the week. It has 100 grams of protein for the bowl. It is so easy to make and it is delicious.
First problem I have with this video is that he says that it's 300 something calories per serving, but it's 100 grams for the bowl, so it's slightly deceptive. There's 4 servings, so each serving is 25 grams of protein, so still a good amount of protein and 300 something calories. So
you trust me through this first ingredient because I know some of y'all are weird, but we're gonna start off with some plain Greek yogurt and throw in half a packet of cheesecake powder. I melted a few tablespoons of cookie butter and just drizzled that on as well. You're supposed to add protein powder at this part, but I forgot to record it, so just throw that in yourself. I topped it off with a little bit of the magic shell chocolate thing, but I put way too much on, so don't put as much as me. Crumble some Biscoff cookies on top, throw it in the fridge for a little bit, divide into 4 servings, and enjoy. And if you're not following me by now, then what are you doing?
So it's not a cheat meal as long as you don't get carried away. Because if you get carried away and eat the entire thing, then you're eating over 1,200 calories. But is it even good enough for you to get carried away? Let's find out.
Peanut butter protein cheesecake might just be your new favorite dessert on your diet. It's so easy to make and each serving has 36 grams of protein. Add Greek yogurt to a bowl with whipped cream cheese, vanilla whey protein, and for a low-calorie, high-protein substitute for peanut butter, we're going to use PB Fit powdered peanut butter with sweetener, cheesecake pudding mix, vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt, and mix until thick. Then add...
That is a lot of artificial sweeteners. Typically, protein powder has very low sugar, but is usually pretty sweet, and then adding artificial sugar. And then you also have the PB Fit. That doesn't have sweetener or anything in it, but it is, protein dense. Just from the ingredients alone, it doesn't seem like it would taste very good, but we're gonna have to try it to find out.
To a bowl and toss in the freezer and top with graham cracker, whipped cream, and melted peanut butter, and you're absolutely gonna love this one.
It does look good though. First up, we have the 2 that skip the oven like I skipped leg day, the no-bake cheesecakes. Honestly, they both look pretty good. We have the Biscoff and the peanut butter, but just because they look good doesn't mean that they're gonna taste good. So first up, we're gonna try the Biscoff. Get a little bit of that chocolate shell in there, a little bit of the Biscoff cookie. It essentially takes everything good about cheesecake and makes it taste bad. I feel like I can tell that it wants to be cheesecake, but it's got enough sweet stuff in there to kind of trick you into thinking that it tastes good, but it's kind of like a shapeshifter. After the first couple seconds, things start to be a little not quite cheesecake. But for how low effort this is, it does make it a little bit more attractive of an option. I did have to buy an entire sleeve of Biscoff cookies just to put one on top of this. So I don't plan on eating the cookies nor making this ever again. But I do find myself going back for a little bit more, so it can't be that bad. I'd probably put this at about a 5 out of 10. Very underwhelming, just sweet enough to scratch that itch. Next up, we have the peanut butter no bake. We've got some whipped cream and some graham cracker on top that is potentially gonna save this because I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty similar to the base of the Biscoff cookie one. All we can do is try it and find out. A little bit firmer upon entry.
Wait, what?
Texture is a little bit better. Obviously very peanut buttery. The whipped cream is a nice touch with a little graham cracker. That's not too bad. I think the powdered peanut butter gives off a less chemical vibe than a ton of protein powder does. It's actually not too bad. If you're craving something sweet and something easy, I think this is a great option. It doesn't really give me too much of a cheesecake vibe. There's a hint of it, a little bit of the flavor, and a good amount of the texture reminds me of cheesecake. But I wish it was a little bit more pungent in the cheesecakiness. But overall, this is pretty good. It's like a Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Bruh.
I'd put this at an 8 out of 10. I'm really impressed. Low effort, and it tastes good. Doesn't get much better than that. If muscle growth came as easy as making this, everybody'd be jacked. Now it's time to dive into the realm of baked cheesecakes, because baked is always better, right? The one downside to baking the cheesecake is that you have to let it sit in the fridge for essentially overnight unless you make them in the morning and then you eat them for dessert after dinner. So just make sure that you make these when you're not hungry.
Crumble cheesecake cookies, but not 1,000 calories. Only 200 calories, 26 grams of protein. Oh my God.
Today I'm going to show you how to make Fruity Pebble protein cheesecake cookies that are only 200 calories, 26 grams of protein. The perfect dessert meal prep for the week. These things are dense, delicious, and insane. So first you're going to add all your wet ingredients into your small blender. Super important thing here, blend for only 5 to 7 seconds on low. We don't want to incorporate too much air. Add to a bowl. Now you're going to add all your dry ingredients in there. And that raises another important point. Make sure to fold but don't overmix. Now you're going to add in your crushed Fruity Pebbles. Add your 4-inch springform cheesecake pans. That is a mouthful. These are cheap off Amazon. Cover bottoms with aluminum foil so the bain-marie doesn't get into the cheesecakes. Bake on 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Then slightly open the door, turn the oven off, and leave them in there for another 25 minutes. Let them cool at room temperature. Add to the fridge overnight. We're going to dress these things up with a little bit of fat-free Cool Whip. Crushed Fruity Pebbles. Add to the freezer for 30-60 minutes as a pro tip. And then it's time to enjoy, my friends.
I mean, these look really good, so let's see how they taste. All right, so first up we have the Fruity Pebble cheesecake. I mean, this looks incredible if I'm being honest. So obviously I didn't have those 4-inch cheesecake pans, but I did have muffin tins. So they're a little bit smaller than the original recipe, but the ones that were in the water bath seemed like they turned out really good. So let's see if they taste any good. Wow, that blows the door off of the first two. Just tastes like straight up dessert. I didn't taste any protein powder. It is definitely on the sweeter side, but it tastes like Fruity Pebbles, so it gives you that, you know, that childhood. Honestly, I'm a little speechless. That tastes incredible. It's good on macros. It does take a little while to cook, but as you can see, you can use muffin tins instead of having to buy extra equipment to cook these. Just make sure you use them in that water bath thing that he does in the video. That definitely helped keep it a little bit lighter and fluffier, but it was still dense and creamy and very, very cheesecake-like. Honestly, that's a 10 out of 10. I'm impressed, to say the least.
Told you that you can make this high-protein pistachio cheesecake that's so healthy you could eat it every day for breakfast. Would you believe me? Well, you can, and here's the proof. All we're doing is taking Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, pistachios, eggs, maple syrup, and cornstarch, getting them blended and popping it in the oven. Recipes in the caption.
I mean, if he's insinuating that you eat the entire thing for breakfast every single morning, then you are gonna get fat. Without doing any like real math and just looking at the ingredients, this has to be like close to 1,500 calories for the cheesecake. Not that any one single of these ingredients is bad for you, because they're all, you know, relatively whole foods, relatively healthy. I mean, it's a lot of pistachios, probably a lot of fat to consume. But I mean, the Greek yogurt and the cottage cheese are gonna give you a good amount of protein along with the eggs. The one advantage that this one has over the other ones is it doesn't have a ton of artificial sugars. It doesn't have any artificial sugars. It's all made out of whole foods. So I would hope that this one tastes exceptionally good, because the macros aren't nearly as good as any of the other ones. To call this a high protein pistachio cheesecake, it's not inherently wrong because it is high in protein, but it's also high in calories. Let's see if it tastes any good. All right, so next up we have the pistachio cheesecake. So unlike the other ones, this doesn't have protein powder or artificial sweeteners or anything like that, but it does come packed with a ton of more calories. So I'm assuming that it's gonna taste good, or at least I'm hoping that it's gonna taste good, because this was not cheap to make. It was $11 for the bag of pistachios that I had to buy. And then you need honey, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, all of the above. So this is not a cheap option like some of the other ones were. But is it worth it? Let's give it a try. This is by far the densest one that we've tried, that's for sure. And it tastes good. I would say it's the least sweet of the cheesecakes that we've tried today. And obviously it has a very overwhelming pistachio flavor to it. I think I could have cooked it just a little bit longer, but it's still, you know, relatively dense. It still has a very cheesecake nature to it. But honestly, I would say you could go with less pistachios and then maybe even just like crumble some on the top with like a little bit of whipped cream or something. Yeah, that would add that little bit of sweetness that you're looking for dessert. I definitely couldn't see myself eating this for breakfast every single morning. And as far as taste even goes, this doesn't touch the Fruity Pebble cheesecake. But purely on a taste ranking, I would probably put this at an 8 out of 10. But with the macros considered, I would probably drop that closer to a 6, maybe even a 5.5. To be considered a protein cheesecake, you would think that it would have protein powder in it and not be so calorie dense. I'd probably say that the only two that I will remake are the Fruity Pebble cheesecake and probably the peanut butter no bake one. And the peanut butter one doesn't taste as good as some of the others, but it is super easy to make. Plus now I have all of the ingredients to make it. And if you're craving something sweet, it only takes just a couple minutes to make. You pop it in the freezer and you can be eating it just a few minutes later. As for the Fruity Pebble cheesecake, you can kind of meal prep that one. You can make several small little cheesecake bites that you can have as a snack or as a dessert and kind of, you know, get that sweet fix that you've been looking for. If you guys enjoyed the video, click on one of the other videos on the screen and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.